welcome to my channel. In this video, you're going to learn how to be non-reactive. So there are certain conditions that must be met in childhood that aren't met for 90% of people in 90% of families. And those conditions are learning how to set boundaries, learning how to, build your own sense of self, learning how to trust yourself, learning how to feel your emotions, learning how to regulate your emotions. And so a lot of people learning how to attune to yourself and your own needs. So most people are missing like almost every single one of these who grew up in a dysfunctional environment, which most of this world is dysfunctional. And most of us grew up in dysfunctional families. There's like a rare few who haven't. And what this means is that your body has to come up with ways to supplement what you didn't get. So there are purposes to all these things. Boundaries protect you. Emotional regulation, like, allows you to live. Energy and motion, right? And when we lose some of these things, our body still protects us, but it starts protecting us in dysfunctional or unhealthy ways. So when we think of someone who's reactive, the most common thing that we think of is people who yell or get really rowdy. But there's another form of reactivity that you might have if you identify as someone as more of a victim or a survivor. I think there's the abusers who are highly reactive and they're abusive, but survivors can be reactive in a different way that isn't outward explosive. And it's all about which survival response your body is going into. So fight, flight, fawn, freeze. If you're anything like me, and you're if you've been a victim of abuse a lot, you've been bullied a lot, you're kind of quiet, you're kind of peaceful, you probably do a fawn response a lot. So because your body doesn't have boundaries, because you don't trust yourself, because you can't attune to your own needs, because you suppress your emotions, your body has 4 options when reacting to a threat: fight, flight, fawn, freeze. And a lot of times when you're in relationships, when you're in front of a man or a woman or a friend, your instant reaction, your reactivity is to fawn over people. I realized that all of my past relationships were just me fawning, fawning over threats. I didn't love these men. I didn't like them. I was conditioned to think that fawning was normal. And that's the thing. So you can be reactive in this way of fawning over people. Have you ever witnessed a friend group dynamic where there's one person who's a really nasty person in the friend group and you can see it, but then all of their friends are like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, I love you so much. Those people are fawning. They're fawning, right? And so the key word here is though that you're fawning over threats. And this is where the boundaries and the what you're lacking comes in. Because if you gaslight yourself, if you don't trust yourself, if you suppress your emotions, then when you are faced with a threat in front of you, your body recognizes and your body knows that you cannot, that even if it told you that this person is a threat, that you would immediately gaslight it, that you aren't listening to yourself. Your true self is so buried down that you aren't able to listen to it. So what your body does is it picks the best solution that it thinks to protect you from the people around you. And so we can have love for our bodies because when we're in abusive relationships or when we're in a reactive state, our body is trying to protect us in the only way that it knows how. The problem with this comes in when people are in these protective mechanisms, but they don't do the work, they don't do self-reflection. So they're perpetually harming others or harming themselves without the work that is needed to change these parts of yourself in your body. So basically, how to be non-reactive is we have to come back to the truth of reality. Confusion disrupts clarity. Narcissistic abuse and trauma survivors, and confusion is one of the main factors of reactivity, right? So when someone is reactive, it's there's so many different traumatic responses going on in their mind, in their body at once, that the body has to either fight, flight, freeze, react. because it literally doesn't have the tools or the skills that it needs to do anything else. So being non-reactive and coming to this place of self-mastery is about building up those tools that you need. So if you've been doing inner work, you've already been building up these tools. And I'll share a little bit about me, how I came to be in this non-reactive place. I consider myself like emotionally mastered. The universe put me through these insane tests related to self-control that were, so basically, something really awful happened to me and I was like really traumatized. Then I moved across the country and I was immediately getting attacked by a narcissist, like constantly, like it was like violent, physically violent, all these things. And what this was like this like integration of everything I learned. Like no matter how much this woman screamed at me or threw things at me or stole my things or harassed me when I was already in this like overwhelmed, stressed state, no matter what she did, I could stay calm. Someone can come at me screaming in my face and I don't fawn, I don't fight, I don't freeze, I pause. Literally, I'm able to pause. And this is like this culmination of everything. It's like I'm not afraid to set boundaries. I don't blame myself for other people's behavior. I don't excuse behavior. I can understand and read people to know who they are and how they're acting. I trust my body's feelings. I trust my read on people. I trust that like I understand others correctly, right? So this is what it means to be in the truth, in the reality. Being grounded in the truth of reality is what allows you to be non-reactive, because what makes you reactive is this like emotional overload that comes from like the body being dysfunctional in this emotional way. Like, for example, a really big part of being non-reactive is understanding who people are, what they're doing, what the dynamics are, what the patterns are. Because the thing is, when you are faced with an abusive person or a toxic person or a threat, there are different levels to the types of threats that you will experience. So there are people who are unsafe, maybe untrustworthy, because they don't trust themselves, because they still have toxic patterns, but they have pure intentions, right? And then there are people who are unsafe because they have malicious intentions, because they have a complete disregard for other people's well-being, because they put themselves and their needs before everyone else. And so this is how you set boundaries and how you gauge what boundaries you have with people. And this type of mindset and this framing is how you know that you aren't projecting onto others and how you can truly understand others. Because when someone has motivations like, I want to make myself superior to others, I need to bring others down so I can feel better. When you have that type of low self-esteem, it's really hard not to project and not to misunderstand others and be in the truth, because you need to distort the truth to make yourself feel better. So if you don't have any of these internal motivations that would cause you to distort your own truth, then you are able to see others and understand them clearly. So you're coming from a place of like, who are you? How do I set boundaries with you? And this type of mastery is how you know what to do in certain situations. And when you don't have this clarity and this understanding of people and this understanding of patterns and dynamics and where people are coming from, discernment, it's hard to know what to do and how to behave when you don't know what you're dealing with, right? And so one of the main things about it is like, so for example, like when a narcissistic person is screaming at you, you can tell when they're screaming to scare people. Like they take enjoyment from like screaming. Like there's a difference between someone who is angry and having outbursts and out of control, and someone who is screaming because they know that they can get compliance through fear. That's another thing that you need to let go of in order to be non-reactive is fear. The fear of people. When you grew up around threats, malicious people, toxic people, narcissists, when you grew up around this, your baseline state is fear. And so you learned how to relate to people is to be afraid of them. And so it's like you don't even know that you're afraid of people, but like automatically you feel afraid of people when you meet them. And this is the key thing is that your body detects the threats. You know when someone is a threat. That is why you fawn. You know when someone is a threat. Always. But your body knows that you won't trust it and that you don't have the proper boundaries, and that if you consciously knew that they were a threat, that it would make things more dangerous. So what it does is it creates these other types of like more unhealthy protection mechanisms that are like fawning, fighting, freezing, reacting, these types of things. So really reactivity is all about not being in the truth. And when someone brings you into fear is when they can control you and your reactions. This is really what it is. Your reactions are your body responding to fear. It's like a control mechanism. Like your reactions are not your true self. When you're in truth and you're grounded in your true self is when you're able to control yourself and be non-reactive. Does that make sense? So the truth is that narcissists are not scary. They can be, but the truth is that there's nothing to be afraid of by making your own decisions when you are in front of a threat. It is not scary to truly protect yourself when you are faced with a threat. That is the illusionary fear. That is where this reactivity is allowed to control you. And then this keeps you in a cycle where you are constantly reacting to illusion because you're not seeing the truth. So to be non-reactive is to be able to see the truth of other people. If someone is screaming nonsense at you and you can understand and recognize exactly why this person is screaming nonsense at you, because they're trying to scare you, you don't have all of this, there's no reason to react because you can just see it clearly. And so like this is like an advanced form of self-mastery, right? Like understanding people. Like, because what I'm thinking of is like when a narcissistic person like freaks out or has outbursts, what a lot of people do is they come up with excuses for the narcissistic person. So they'll come up with all of these like incorrect assumptions of like why the person is acting the way they are. The thing is that narcissistic people project everything onto you, onto objects, onto anything. Okay. So whenever a narcissistic person is angry and blowing up about something, they're not blowing up about what they're telling you. The reason why they're blowing up is because they want a reaction from you, because they want to control you. Like not just like control your behaviors, like you can't wear makeup, you can't wear these cute clothes, like all these things. They want in the moment to be able to use to take advantage of your narcissistic abuse conditioning by allowing their demons, their energy to put fear into you and control you, which puts you into this reactive illusion where you're fighting with an illusion or you're fawning with an illusion. Does that make sense? to where it's like the energy overtakes you. This is what it means to be bound by someone. This energy, it either makes you feel sorry for them, or it makes you mad at them, or it makes you try to understand them, or it makes you feel bad for them. That's this energy that they're trying to control you with. Narcissists are black magicians. How we become non-reactive in this way, unable to be controlled, is by coming back to truth. Love is truth. Fear is the illusion. And fear is like this disconnection from your true self. What disconnects us from our true self is all of the conditioning that we have in our childhood. So there's like steps on the path that the universe will guide you towards to become someone who is less reactive. The first step for me, you can do this your own way, but I'm going to share with you my way just so that maybe it can be of value to you. The first step that I learned was self-control on a smaller level, where I used to argue with my ex all the time about all the stupid things. He was so mean to me. I just argue with him all the time. I try and fix him. And so in that relationship, in my next relationship, I learned how to not react like negatively towards people and play into their game as much. And so it's like this web of a whole lot of things that you have to undo. Narcissistic abuse conditioning is like a huge web that causes you to be able to be controlled by others. This is like the nature of this 3D reality that we're living in. It's like everyone is able to control each other by taking advantage of their conditionings, and the narcissists are being controlled as well. The narcissists are well, okay. They're either being controlled by demons or, actual entities, that type of thing. But it's like they're all just a part of this toxic system of the age of illusion. It's like some people, their conditioning pushes them to harm others and control others. Other people are controlled, and some people are only controlled. Some people are controlled and abuse others. Because if we want to think about narcissistic abuse, like, how narcissistic abuse narcissists, they spread smear campaigns and they have all these friends. Their friends are also narcissists. All of their friends are narcissists. All of their friends abuse them. All of their friends lie to them. They abuse all their friends. This is how it is. They abuse everyone. That's one illusion that you got to get rid of too, is that I got rid of this in a beautiful way. Any narcissistic person is abusing every single person in their life, right? That's what a narcissistic supply is. But the people who stick around them also abuse every single person in their life. So boundaries, self-trust, being in the truth of reality is how you are non-reactive. And this is like how you protect yourself in general from narcissistic abuse, is like, no matter what is going on around you, you can feel okay, like somewhat. You're always going to have to process narcissistic abuse. Like when you get to this point where like you're non-reactive and you're protected and you're like immune, the problem is you still have to process everything, right? That's one of the like downsides of like coming to this place of self-mastery, is that like you don't get to avoid it anymore. You don't get to pretend it's not real. You don't get to feel sorry for them and like try and fix them. You have to process the powerlessness that you feel, the injustice, the hurt that you experience, all of the emotions that this causes. And what this really is that it's kind of like an energy transfer. It's almost like the narcissist gives all their stuff to you for you to process. But gives all their stuff to you for you to process, or it's like they try and heal themselves through you. It's really interesting how this works. I've been noticing this dynamic on like a smaller level, even in the workplace, where it's like I witnessed one coworker be mean to another coworker, and then right after, this coworker did the exact same thing to me. it's like this unconscious pattern of like, I hurt you, someone hurts me, I hurt someone else, right? So it's like there's two ways that you can go. You can go, I process what was done to me, or I hurt someone else. You see? So, but I want to stress also that like no one is completely non-reactive. Like that's not a thing. No one is unaffected by narcissistic abuse. You have to process it, and no one is everyone reacts when they're under some form of stress and abuse. And it's not fair to anyone to tell anyone like, hey, you should have to endure all of this like narcissistic abuse, all of these awful things. But since you're spiritual, you shouldn't react. You shouldn't say anything back. You shouldn't like get mad or anything. Like, no, that's not how it works. And especially from like a spiritual perspective, like the Most High and God doesn't fucking judge you for reacting to things. And I actually learned that, like, integrated this on a deeper level. Like, your spirit, like the way that the spiritual realms and like spiritual judgment occurs is like way less lenient than we often like give ourselves. Like, if you can be an understanding, empathetic ass person, imagine how empathetic these higher beings are, how much more understanding they have than we do, how much more they can see than we can. It's like, imagine that. Like, they see the good in us more than we see the good in us. And they also see the bad in others more than we see the bad in others. One thing my spirit guides told me when I was dating this one guy was, he is not your friend. They literally meant he is not my friend. He was not. He wasn't. he, he was my boyfriend, but they were saying he's not your friend. He's a threat. He's a threat. So you have to be able to you also have to be able to handle, like, have the self-trust to handle like the knowledge that like you're living with a threat, or you're working with a bunch of threats, or your parents are threats. Like, these are the types of truths that you have to like have the like capacity to like handle and regulate. But the thing is like, you are so strong. Like, humans in general, we're so strong. Like, we are told like we need to do everything with a therapist. I know my mom used to fucking tell me that all the time. You like don't process hard things, like slow things down, like all of these things. Humans can process hard emotions. Humans can do hard things. We can process this. We just need to believe in ourselves and believe that you are capable. You are capable of holding the hard truths. You are strong. You are strong, right? But someone who doesn't want you to see the truth is going to make you think that you're weak and that it's too hard to process these emotions and get through it. I'm a living example that you can get through anything. I won't go too deep into my story, but what I have done alone is astronomical. Astronomical. I haven't had friends in a long time. I've been abused for a long time, and I've come to this point where of self-mastery. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit messy, I think, but I'm gonna post it anyways. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, make sure to drop a comment. Feel free to say hi, and I will see you in my next video.